In the year 1993, a game was released for the Sega Genesis that went on to become forgotten as the years passed, and that game was known as Kekcroc. The game starred the titular Kekcroc, who was a beautiful polygon crocodile with a yellow hat, who would travel through at least 5 levels whilst wielding his trusty, plunger. The game reportedly was not only on the Sega Genesis, but was also ported to the MS-DOS, Game Boy, and the NES. And even though the game was ported to all of these consoles, there is no gameplay footage online. Can we stop with the lightning, please? Thank you. But what we do have is the game's box art, which is beautiful, and the game's famous tagline can be seen below Kekcroc: "Rock around the croc." Iconic. The game is also described as a fun family experience. To go alongside the box art, we also have an audio clip of Kekcroc saying his famous catchphrase, "Hey, I'm Kekcroc." Since no one has ever found a copy of the game, the only information, minus the audio clip and box art, comes from people who have memories of the game on 4chan. So as far as I'm concerned, very factual stuff. The game was described as having terrible graphics, which I don't know how that's possible. The box art gives it a very refined vibe. The gameplay was also stated to have jerky controls, and the player would collect crocodiles while wielding their plunger, as Kekcroc of course. The only level that was ever mentioned, which was the game's 5th level, known as Toasty's Castle. Not sure who Toasty is. Regarding the box art that was found, it was allegedly discovered on the website of a game store that was local to the user who discovered it, but the website was never linked or named. So once again, pretty good concrete evidence. When the game first released for the Sega Genesis, it was a failure, and copies of the game were mostly found in clearance sections of discount stores. The game was also apparently unlicensed. Now what's with the name Kekcroc? Seems like an odd name, right? Well, the croc in his name is for crocodile, of course, so that's not odd. But what's with the Kek at the beginning of his name? Well, it's from the 2004 online RPG MMO PvP PvE open world dungeon crawler tabletop board game farming sim party game World of Warcraft. In the game, which I've never played, if someone on the Horde team types LOL in the chat, the Alliance sees it as Kek. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what I just said because I know nothing about World of Warcraft, and Kek is like a big thing on 4chan or something. So Kekcroc's name is essentially LOLcroc. Wait a minute. World of Warcraft released in 2004, and Kekcroc supposedly released in 1993. That doesn't make any sense. And wait, all of the info for Kekcroc comes from 4chan, the site where Kek would commonly be used. Don't tell me. This forgotten game, with terrible graphics, terrible controls, and a terrible box art, with the not terrible tagline "Rock Around the Croc," that was found on a random local game store website that was never named, that is only remembered by a bunch of anonymous users on 4chan, could be fake. Can we stop with the lightning? Okay, hang on, I gotta see this now. Well, I guess you and I just got fooled. April fooled. Yeah, that's right. I uploaded 2 April Fool's Day videos. You can't fool much more than that. In reality, the Kekcroc game is and never was real. It was just a hoax that some people like to pretend is real, sorta like Gwimbly. All the info that I gave about this supposed forgotten game is just a bunch of stuff people on 4chan made up. Welp, I hope you enjoyed this goofy April Fool's Day video, and if you did, a like, subscription, and maybe even a comment would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.